Welcome to this presentation from Strix PLC. So in the next 15 minutes, I'm going to take you on a flying tour of Strix and show you just how exciting kettles and water can be. A lot of things to go through, and I want to leave time for questions, so I'll run through this presentation quite quickly, so please brace yourself. I'm told you'll receive a copy of the presentation within the next 48 hours or so, and there's also a lot of supplementary information on our PLC website. The roots of the company go right back to 1950, where Eric Taylor started Castletown Thermostats based here on the Isle of Man, probably today one of the safest places on the planet, being COVID-free. Core technology was invented during the Second World War and used in the flying suits for pilots. They were trying to get to higher altitudes. Unfortunately, as they got to those higher altitudes, it got very cold and they passed out. Not a very good thing to do in a fighter plane. So they came up with a different technology, which was a resistor inside the flying suits to heat the flying suits so they could fly higher. But unfortunately, that actually interfered with the communications and the dials on the plane. So again, not the ideal solution. And Eric Taylor then came up with what is called a snap action bimetallic blade, which effectively switch on at a very, very specific temperature without any interference. And as they say, the rest is history. That technology today is still used inside kettles. In the early 1980s, there was a split within the family, and John Taylor actually set up, that's the son actually, set up Strix and vowed to become the market leader. To be honest, he did a fantastic job, as we now hold around 54% value share globally, nearly 4 times larger than our nearest competitor. And then in 2005, the business was sold to private equity, AAC Capital Partners, who held the business then through until around August 2017, when we successfully listed on AIM, buying them out 100%. Frankly, the listing was the best thing that could happen for Strix, and in 3 years we have grown the share price from £1 to £2.45, with significant opportunities for the future, as highlighted in our recent capital markets day. And we'll talk about that more now. Frankly, prior to 2017, Strix was a bit of a hidden gem here on the Isle of Man. But in fact, 70% of you on this call use the Strix product every day, so thank you. But we estimate Strix controls are used more than 1.2 billion times per day by consumers in more than 100 countries around the world and by over 10% of the world's population. Some pretty impressive statistics, I think. From an investment point of view, Strix offers a very good deal. We have manufacturing in China, Italy, and on the Isle of Man, all of which have remained operational throughout the pandemic, other than a 3-week shutdown during Chinese New Year. We have very strong focus on costs, and continuous improvement is embedded within our culture. We are extremely cash generative, typically with a cash to EBITDA ratio greater than 80% and a very profitable business. We have an attractive and progressive dividend policy. With our growth plans, it remain attractive, and our board is very committed to delivering that, as we did throughout the pandemic. We also operate in growth markets with plenty of opportunity. And if that's not enough, we also have an excellent ESG position with products that save energy, remove viruses and bacteria, and reduce the amount of single-use plastics. Just moving forward, looking at the 2020 results, certainly a very positive year for Strix. We achieved a great deal, which I'll cover in future slides here. Our aspirations were also clearly presented in our recent capital markets day, where we set out our plans to double the revenues within the next 5 years, primarily through organic growth. We also have a very, very strong reputation for protecting our patents across the world. And since listing in 2017, we have taken down more than 50 copyist products, and last year had 4 RAPEX alerts. These are effectively products that are very unsafe, and therefore an alert is put across all of the European countries. And these were for kettles that actually cause a risk of fire or electrocution, so some quite serious issues. For financials, just a quick look at the PBT throughout last year. Clearly, we saw a dip in the beginning of the year due to COVID. We reacted very, very quickly. Firstly, we saw a China demand drop in February. Then there was the problem with the supply chain as China started to correct things, which was then followed by various lockdowns that many of you now are familiar with around the world. However, As predicted, we experienced a very strong rebound from June onwards with several record months, and we continue to hold a very strong order book through until April at this stage. These results gave us the confidence to confirm the 7.7 pence per share dividend for the full year of 2020. In fact, with everybody working from home, whilst on the island here, and drinking tea and coffee from their home offices, we have now confirmed that we will finish higher than shown on this particular slide, with the buffer that we had in Q4, and will close approximately 2% above prior year in profit, with a very strong order book going in for Q1 of this year. Looking forward, and in terms of the future, you can see the next 5 years we are projecting to double our revenues. Obviously, we would not have gone to the market and presented this unless we were very confident of our strategies and the opportunities that existed through this period. The kettles themselves continue to show modest growth, somewhere around 3 to 4% CAGR, taking our global value share to around 57% within the 5 years. As we can see, in excess of 25% CAGR for the water and plants categories, respectively. Both of these are growth markets in themselves, with very significant geographical and share gain opportunities that we'll touch on later in the slide. Of course, we will also see a significant boost in revenues in 2021 with the recent acquisition of Leica, and that will give us at least a 20% uplift without any of the integration synergies or the initiatives that are already planned within that budget. So let's move on to the various categories. We have 3 main categories in our business. First one, obviously, is the kettles. We have a very unique position within this market, working across the value chain. We work with more than 450 brands and retailers around the world, and with more than 200 OEMs within China, where more than 92% of kettles are actually manufactured. In many cases, we are consultants and even act as a sales conduit for the OEMs, using our own sales team to help link them with brands and retailers to maximize their sales, and obviously our own as well. This is a core category where we currently have 54% of the global share. Today, the global household penetration is still less than 40%, so there are plenty of opportunities for growth. As an example, in America, only 14% of households actually have an electric kettle, and we have nearly 80% share of that market. India has an even lower penetration rate, and China itself only a 40% penetration rate in the market, where we hold around 50% share, giving us plenty of scope to achieve that 4% CAGR growth. We're also widening the applications and are already selling controls into coffee makers, travel kettles, with opportunities to increase functionality. For instance, in our office here, I just need to say, Alexa, boil the kettle, and off it will go. Something that I'm sure we'll all get used to going forward. Second category is appliances, and in this category I work in the same brands and retailers and OEMs, bringing innovation and technology to make consumers' lives simpler, making appliances more efficient and reducing the lifetime energy use. We have an exciting range of new products on our roadmap coming to the market, everything from water dispensers through to electrical products for the baby market as well. All of these are providing significant improvements in performance and all incorporate Strix patented technology. And then finally into our water category, where we provide filtration for drinking water in a wide range of appliances and applications. These range from just improving the taste of water to ones removing bacteria, viruses and cysts, making water safe to drink globally. In fact, in some cases, you can literally take a bottle with some of our products inside that bottle and drink safely from the rivers. It is that safe. One of the recent additions we've had is a technology called HaloPure, which we acquired from HaloSource in 2018. This technology effectively removes viruses and bacteria from water again, and is really gaining traction in the farming industry within China for feeding animals, primarily chickens and pigs. This is particularly important given the increased pressure and legislation being implemented to remove antibiotics from the food chain. Certainly a very strong opportunity for growth in the future, with an addressable market in China alone of around £500 million. So we're really just scratching the surface at the moment. And in addition to the farming, we're also working on sterilisation applications within dentistry and other healthcare applications. So certainly an area to watch. Moving into operations, we've also been very busy here as well, and we will be opening a brand new purpose-built factory in China in August 2021. This is on budget and on schedule and will double our existing capacity, really in line with our growth plans, with the same or even lower operating costs than the existing 3 sites we currently have within China. We have an embedded culture of continuous improvement within our company and are always looking to improve our efficiencies and reduce costs. At the end of 2020, 67% of our production lines in China were automated, making a control every 2 seconds with around 1,000 critical dimensions on each control. Historically, that would have been somewhere around 8 to 10 seconds and then quite a manual process. On the Isle of Man, here itself, we produce more than 500 million components a year with just 38 people, which really highlights the level of automation that we've achieved, and we continue to drive further improvements using new technologies and different skills within our own business. Clearly, ESG is also a major topic for all businesses at this time, and you can certainly find a lot more information on our PLC website. We have an extremely strong position given our products are designed to reduce energy, minimize the use of single-use plastics, and provide safe drinking water by removing viruses and bacteria, among other impurities. Internally, we are governed by a string of ISO accreditations and recently achieved the benchmark status at our facilities here on the Isle of Man, which is the highest possible award. We are told by our auditors that only around 2% of companies actually achieve this status, so we're very proud of that achievement. Our products also have a very significant impact on the environment, and this slide just shows some of the potential benefits for the life cycle of our products. If we have any weakness in this area, it really has been in the communication of our credentials, something we as a board are committed to improve over the coming weeks and months, and have set up a special project team internally, including one of our NEDs, to make sure we can drive that effectively. And finally, in this whirlwind tour of Strix, the recent acquisition of Leica, which took place during a pandemic. There is nothing more we like in Strix than a challenge, and that certainly was a challenge. But we're really excited about this addition, which will accelerate our growth in both the water category and the healthy living segments of appliances, both 2 very fast-growing areas of the market. Leica itself is very well recognized as a leading quality brand and have developed an attractive roadmap of new products to complement their existing range. In addition, it brings a state-of-the-art manufacturing facility in Europe to complement our existing facilities. So the combination of Leica, Aqua, and Australia brands in our water category really does now provide us with a very comprehensive range of products that will allow us to expand our opportunities with a particular focus now on growth in both China and America, where we are very well situated. Furthermore, given our footprints for both the Aqua and Leica brands, we have some significant cross-selling opportunities within the UK and the Italian markets, where we have very well established sales networks. So in summary, I would just like to say Strix Group is a robust and very profitable company with some really excellent opportunities for future growth. And with that, I'm very happy to open up to any questions. Hopefully I managed to do that in time.
The questions up here. So the first one was sent in by an investor ahead of time, and I was going to read that out to you. It says, do you have any concerns with regards to the Chinese government taking reprisals against UK companies following recent remarks made by Liz Truss along the lines of Britain will offer to work with the the EU, Japan and America to clamp down on what it calls unfair behaviour by Chinese state-owned enterprises? I guess kind of reprisals in China, is that a concern?
I mean, we've been in China now for a very long time, and actually we have very, very good relations with the Chinese government. Certainly we have not experienced any issues and don't foresee any issues where we are today. In fact, when we started on the new factory, we obviously had a lot of discussions with the government, and they've been very, very supportive for us moving to that new factory, and even in January actually signed off the construction of that new factory. So no, we don't foresee any issues on those relations, certainly with our company.
Thank you. Can you please give an idea of the potential margin you'll make on the HaloPure farming contract in China, and can we expect further contract wins in the year?
That's a good question, and we're always a little bit reserved on our margins. Obviously, it's a competitive market as well. Also, I think for the HaloPure, it's very early days for us. So the initial sales that we've done, we've got 2 very large systems in place at the moment, one in pig farming in China and one in the poultry farming. We do absolutely intend to put more systems in place. There'll be a significant number going through this year and the following year. In terms of margin, yeah, that will increase over the next 2 to 3 years. And the other part of the sale of that product is we're actually using recyclable beads. So every 9 to 12 months, we actually recycle those beads, and then therefore we get the after sale of those beads year on year afterwards as well. But I'm afraid we actually hold the margins quite close to our chest.
Okay. Electric kettles are not popular in some markets, for example, the USA and France. Why is this? How can you persuade the consumers in those markets to adopt electric kettles? And also, can I add to that, you mentioned China as a growth market for you. Have the Chinese consuming patterns around kettles and these sorts of products?
Right, there's 2 or 3 different questions within that. So in America, first of all, penetration, as I said, is around 14%. It is or was a very much coffee drinking nation. One of the issues you have in America is 110 volts. So actually kettles are a little bit slower than we'd have over here in the UK. So there are some differences between them. However, about 5 or 6 years ago, there was a very big change in trend in the US as people became more aware of the health benefits of tea. And so you've seen a really major boom in sort of different types of tea, and therefore you're seeing a boom in the efficiency of the kettle, particularly where you want multiple temperatures. So electronic kettles are actually very popular in the US, and you're seeing double-digit growth in those markets. So yes, it's a very low penetration today, but for us, a very, very good growth market going forward. On top of that, in our appliance category, we have a lot of devices which are giving much more features and benefits than just the kettles. So some of the water dispensers will give you chilled water and true boiled water in the same unit as a standalone item. So in some cases, I think we'll see Americans actually moving more towards those appliances and going perhaps with just the basic kettle. France is a similar situation, very much coffee drinking nation. That's got a penetration of sort of 50% in those markets. When you go to China, China's actually quite an interesting market. I mean, as a Western brand having 50%, that's quite unusual. It is a good growing market, very fast growing market. There's great potential for growth. It's quite well checked, if you like, or self-checked by the consumers who are very hungry for information. So they all buy these on the websites, and they really are looking for better quality appliances, and they're looking for high end. So people are moving very quickly towards the multi-temperature kettles, for instance, and we're starting to see quite a lift in terms of the functionality of the kettles required in China. But yeah, it's still a very good growth opportunity.
Okay, what involvement, if any, do you have with the cooker brand? That's QUOOKER brand, which appears to be increasing in popularity as an alternative to the standard kettle in some households. Is this an opportunity or threat?
It is an interesting product. We don't have any sort of direct links. We do actually have some direct links with some of the other manufacturers of what we would call the hot tap. These are the installed taps you have in your home, and they are very, very different. The cost base of one of those is actually quite high. They're not really a do-it-yourself product in our opinion. You normally get them installed, and obviously you've got the sort of maintenance cost going forward. Actually, we don't see it as a threat. It's been quite useful for us. It actually has given consumers that idea of convenience and simplicity, and many of our appliances that are on the market or coming to the market at the moment will give you that facility, giving you boiled water in just 5 seconds, and it's true boiled water, so it's guaranteed that it's going to be up 100 degrees as it starts to come out of that system. We have looked at that technology. We continue to look at that. In the UK alone, there are over 10 million kettles sold every year, so the market is very, very different in its dynamics. And we continue to watch that space very carefully. We do have products that we could use in that type of market, so we will continue to monitor it carefully.
Okay. Will further acquisitions be funded by issuing shares or funded out of cash on the balance sheet?
We have quite a specific policy to our acquisitions. We are a very cash generative business. We have quite low debt, very good liquidity. So certainly, as we see it today, you can never say never, but we would actually see any future acquisitions being through cash, not through issuing shares.
Okay. What shareholdings do management have?
Currently, if you look at the management, it's if you get the numbers right, it's about 4 to 4.5% of total shares.
I appreciate you getting interrogated here. So doing quite well, Mark. I've got lots more questions for you. I'm going to keep them coming whilst we've got the time. How much of your product is designed and assembled by you, and how much is bought in pre-assembled by third parties?
That's a very good question. Nearly all of the design is our own. I mean, we are a company that we're really sort of protecting our designs through and innovation through patents, and that's been your culture within this company for 30 years or more. So your design is very much in-house. Most of the production is done in our factory in either Isle of Man or in China, assembly primarily in China. Some of the sub-assemblies we do contract out, but increasingly we're bringing those in-house. And with the new factory, that will be accelerated. So yeah, most of it is done in-house.
And a question about shipping costs from China. Are Strix able to mitigate a significant increase in shipping costs the number of suppliers have seen in products from China?
We don't get impacted really by a lot of this. I mean, yeah, we always get lots of questions about Brexit and so on as well. I mean, most of our transactions are done between the Isle of Man and a China-based OEM. We sell the component to the China-based OEM. They then, with our support, build the kettle and produce the kettle, and then the Chinese OEM will then ship it around the world. So actually, for our own products, there really is no impact or very minimal impact of any of those types of problems with shipping. Certainly, containers have gone up in price recently through some of the sort of shortages and disruption, but it doesn't have any significant impact on us at all.
Next one here, I've just lost it a second. India, have you ever considered or looked at having a factory in India instead of China?
In honesty, no. I say no. We obviously look at all different areas for manufacture. China today makes more than 92% of all kettles in the world. So yeah, an obvious place to be. China itself is the largest kettle market in the world and still one of the fastest growing. So for us, China is an obvious place to be, and the supply base is very strong as well. India today, penetration is around 10% because they really drink masala tea, which is made with milk rather than the sort of standard kettle. Although it is growing very fast and it's at that tipping point, but from a manufacturing point, China is still the obvious choice.
You mentioned a number of new products and kind of things in the pipeline. Of all of them, what kind of gets you excited? What do you think is the exciting opportunity for you, Mark?
Well, that's a really good question. I mean, we have so many different things going on. I think that there's two that I would mention at the moment. One is the water stations that we're bringing out, and they're coming to market at the moment. These give a consumer everything from chilled water to boiling water, and you can choose any temperature in between. Standalone units, you can hold 3 to 5 litres of water there. So yeah, very easy to use, and they boil water in just 5 seconds. So it's sort of instant boiling water. So that's really exciting for me, and I think that will actually be very positive. I guess one of the others, which is perhaps a little bit more disruptive, is sort of going into induction kettles. Induction hobs are becoming much more popular, and certainly we'll be looking to launch some different and probably some quite disruptive technology in the next 12 months in that area as well.
Had a couple of comments envious of you being out of lockdown there in the Isle of Man. And final question on the Isle of Man. What's the political relationship like, if there is one, and between the Isle of Man and China, and how does that affect or impact the business?
Yeah, we have found actually it's very, very positive. I mean, we've been a representative of the Isle of Man when we go over to China, and we've had delegates from China come over here to the Isle of Man to visit us as well. So it's actually really positive, and the Isle of Man has given Strix tremendous support over the years here as well.
Lovely. Well, Mark, thank you very much. Thank you for presenting this evening. It's been really good to have you.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for your time.